Hello, lovely people at Panto Archive. I'm thrilled to be talking a little bit about pantomime today. My name is Ben Millerman. I usually spend the pantomime season playing Dame. I've also produced a couple of pantomimes as well as other shows as well. And it seems very weird not doing a show this Christmas, but it's great to be able to be here and talk about the lovely world of pantomime. So let's get started. What was your very first experience of pantomime? I grew up in Sheffield and went to the Sheffield Lyceum pantomime every single year from about the age of 3. So it would have been an E&B pantomime. I don't remember which one it would have been, but I apparently was absolutely captivated. I was only 3 years of age and I couldn't take my eyes off of the stage. I couldn't stop talking about the show afterwards. I was just completely enthralled and captivated in this absolutely crazy, colourful, fantastic world. The first pantomime that I remember quite distinctly, again, was Sheffield Lyceum, but it was UK Productions and it was Dick Whittington. Andrew Ryan was the Dame. And that was the first pantomime that I remember very distinctly. I had quite an awareness of what pantomime was, what I was watching. And then from then on, just became completely obsessed with seeing the pantomime every year. I have managed to catch the Sheffield pantomime almost every year. There's one year that I didn't catch it, but it's a bit of a tradition, so I always try to go over and see the beautiful Sheffield Lyceum. Living or dead, if you could appear in pantomime with anyone, who else would it be? Oh, there are some fantastic pantomime stars that sadly no longer with us that I would love to see in pantomime or to love to do pantomime with. Danny LaRue, obviously, Jack Tripp, just some fantastic stars. Living, I would love to do pantomime with Julie Walters. I think she would just be absolutely fantastic in a hoot. I'd love to see some of those big Hollywood stars come over that we're so used to doing serious movies and stuff and just have a silly old time doing pantomime and see them in a different way. That'd be fantastic. I'd love that. Also RuPaul. I'd love to see RuPaul in pantomime or to do pantomime with RuPaul. I just think that would be absolutely hilarious as well. But yeah, I'd love to see some American stars come over. I know it's quite controversial because we're so British about pantomime, but yes, I'd love to see some American stars come over and do it. Is there a pantomime role you'd love to play? Sleeping Beauty is one of my favourite pantomimes, and I was very lucky to do Sleeping Beauty last year as Nanny Annie. Peter Pan is another one of my favourites, again quite controversial in the pantomime world, but I would love to be Dame in Peter Pan. And I think then I would have done all of my favourites, I think. Yes, so I'd love to do Peter Pan, if anyone's out there. Do you have a favourite theatre? Absolutely biased, unfortunately. I adore the Sheffield Lyceum. I've been very lucky to visit it many, many, many times growing up. I've been lucky to work in the venue. I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful theatre. I love regional theatres, so I also love Nottingham Theatre Royal. I love Birmingham Hippodrome because it's so well looked after, so well maintained, beautiful venue. There's so many theatres that I absolutely adore, but obviously Sheffield has a very special place in my heart and is just gorgeous, gorgeous venue. Do you feel over the years that pantomime has changed or adapted to an ever-changing world? Yes, I do. Pantomime has always changed. Pantomime has always adapted because pantomime is a reflection and of modern society and references modern society. So the jokes change every year, especially if they're topical or political or referencing modern trends. There are also changes in society and culture that pantomime has to keep up with. So years ago, Principal Boy was played by a girl, and nowadays you don't see that very often. It's mostly played by men. But also nowadays we're seeing the princesses and the female leads becoming much more integral to the story and also often winning the day and saving the prince from the baddies. So pantomime is keeping up with the times and has to keep up with the times. There are jokes that I did when I started in pantomime 6, 7 years ago that you can no longer do because they're no longer seen as being politically correct, for example. So the jokes change every year. Um, there are changes to story. We're seeing more and more, like I said, the female characters taking the lead, but we're also seeing new characters introduced. We're seeing slight changes in story to keep it fresh, keep it creative, keep it relevant. So yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about pantomime is that it does change and it has to change, and that's one of the things that I love about it is you never really know what you're going to get. So, wishing everyone a very magical season to those appearing in pantomime and to those not appearing in pantomime. And just have a magical Christmas. Take care. And thank you so much for Panto Archive for allowing me a little bit of time to talk about pantomime.